Oftentimes people talk about what makes up the quality of life, what constitutes living good, what constitutes happiness and prosperity. I don't know of anybody who would disagree with me when I say that owning a home, having a house that you can call yours, even if you pay on it every month, is part of the American dream. As a matter of fact, they call it the American dream. Well, if it's that important, then it's also important that there are resources available. Because everybody, just like they said, everybody deserves insurance. Everybody deserves the opportunity if, in fact, they qualify to own a home. However, oftentimes there are stumbling blocks and hurdles and difficulties that citizens experience for various reasons in owning a home. Well, I'm happy to tell you, I'm proud to tell you, I'm elated to tell you that there's a resource in this community to help people navigate through that process, even if there may be some obstacles and some hurdles. But if in fact it's somebody out there who really want to be a part, and everybody does really, of the American dream as it relates to home ownership, there's an organization called Homefirst, which is headed up by a young man that I'm gonna call Reggie first. No, his name is Reggie Bell, but he's been doing it so long, and he has done such a phenomenal job in providing all kinds of assistance for people to try to position themselves to be homeowners. Not only that, if people are homeowners and have difficulties, then he can provide assistance. And I'm going to present to you all because you see that gray hair, so he's been around so long until you probably already know him.
Alex, you are
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Reggie Bell, Executive Director of Homefirst. How you doing, man?
fine, Alex. Thank you so much for that introduction. Alex and I go back almost 40 years, to tell the truth. I have children who weren't born at the time that we started working together many, many years ago with the Small and Minority Business Assistance Office for Macon-Bibb County back in the 80s. And I have spent my entire career in some form or fashion helping people. But that all started back in those days in the early years with that Small Minority Business Assistance Program, which rolled into a nonprofit for which Alex was the founding chairperson. And that was the Entrepreneurial and Employment Training Center many years ago. And we were engaged in helping families navigate their way through this system to become self-sufficient. So, and housing was a natural outgrowth of that, because after people got employed, got stable, the next step is, what do we do? And a part of that is addressing the American dream and becoming a homeowner. And what we've realized over the years in our efforts to help people become homeowners is that life actually gets better for everybody, not only in the house, but for everybody in the community. Homeowners demand a certain kind of respect when they call for their city services and when they engage their political entities and individuals. One of the first things they say is, I'm a homeowner, I'm a taxpayer, and I vote.
Yep.
That gives you a lot of power in your community. And so what we want to do here at Homefirst, we were founded back in 2002. We came about because we were a program that former Mayor C. Jack Ellis put together during his administration to address predatory lending in our communities. There were a number of families who were unfortunately going into foreclosure because they got bad products. And they were targeted, primarily seniors, minorities, and women. And a part of his vision was to simply get people educated in terms of financial literacy so they would know what they were doing. But in the process, we discovered that there was more to the issue. And as a result of that, Homefirst was born. We came about as the Macon Housing Counseling City Center. And then we became the Middle Georgia Housing Counseling Center. And then finally, Homefirst as it's known today. So we're in our 22nd year of existence, and we have helped thousands of families navigate this process. We've generated more than $60 million in revenue through in our community, taxes, economic development, everything that goes with purchasing a house. And we're quite proud of that record. But Alex, you're absolutely right. It is a cornerstone for building wealth, and particularly for minority communities. One of the things we tell our clients is, how do you eat an elephant? It's real simple. One bite at a time. How do you become a homeowner? It's simple. One step at a time. And each person's process is slightly different because each person's circumstances are different. And so what we try to do here at Homefirst is get people educated and in turn give them an actionable plan that they can use as they move towards home ownership. We're HUD certified, we're HUD approved, 501c3 HUD counseling agency. We're funded by local government, Macon-Bibb County, through the Economic and Community Development Department. We're also funded by the state of Georgia through the Department of Community Affairs, and also directly through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And the reason I like to talk about that is because we're funded in such a way that all of our services are free. We do not want cost to be a barrier for folks trying to get on this road. So we don't charge for any of our services, and those services are real simple. On the homeownership side, we educate people through an 8-hour home buyer education course that we have. We hold their hands through one-on-one counseling to come up with an individualistic plan, and we stay with them for as long as necessary for them to make that transition to home ownership. On the unhappy side of what we do, and you alluded to this, is foreclosure intervention. And the reason I call it foreclosure intervention is because if a family gets to us soon enough, we're able to contact their mortgage company and help to negotiate an outcome that will allow people to stay in their homes. What we have discovered is that most people stop answering the phone, they stop opening the mail, and they just kind of shut down because they're terrified. That's the wrong thing to do. If you reach out to an agency such as ours, we can help you save your home, even if you're temporarily unemployed and you're more than 3 months behind. The danger zone is when people wait too late and it becomes a legal issue. Alex, we're not allowed to legally engage with our clients. So when it hits the point where it's engaged in the court system, we have to back up and allow the professionals to take over. But there's a lot the families can do way before that happens.
Well, that's very important. And I'm so glad you said, because I know a lot of people who's, you go down the street and that stuff is sitting outside, on the sidewalk. So it's important to relay this information to the community. Now I'm gonna go to Timber Heights on y'all. Keep it real. Keep it real. A lot of people are having problems and they don't want anybody to know and, try to keep it a secret. Well, it can only be a secret so long if you don't pay that mortgage. It can only be a secret so long if you're behind in your payment. So what you need to do, and then I'm sure that Reggie Homefirst engages in as much confidentiality as possible. But I don't want to see anybody, people lose their job, people get sick, people have sick relatives doing caregiving. There are all kinds of circumstances, many of which we can't readily control, that would position us where we might not be able to pay our mortgage for 1, 2, or 3 months. So there is a resource. There is a resource, I'm going to repeat that for emphasis, in our community that can assist people in trouble. But more importantly, or equally as important, is there's a resource. If somebody out there, we got a lot of good people who are very desirous of being homeowners, who really don't know how to start. Their credit might be bad, or they might not know the process, or grandma them might have left them $15,000 or $20,000, and they want to get a house with it, or what have you. But if one has a desire, and I'm sure Reggie's not going to say he's 100%, but he got a good track record, and you don't know what percentage he is with you until you give him a shot. You get more respect when you're a homeowner, when you're a taxpayer, and when you are a voter.
That's right. That's right.
And then we all have the capability to do that. And those of us who think we got some limitations, then Homefirst is at our disposal to trying to help with that home ownership. So kind of walk through, the educational element.
Well, let's start with on the home education side. And this is the piece that is vitally important. Every industry has its own language, its own jargon. And when you engage that industry, they do not make an effort to change language to meet you where you are. What we do is we take the language of the financing and mortgage community, and we put it in simple, down-to-earth terms that you can comprehend and understand so that you can make the best decision possible. So the first step in the process is to take the homebuyer education program. Now, this is an 8-hour program, and we generally offer it every other month on a Saturday. And we will even provide lunch because we want people to stay engaged for the entire day. And the biggest complaint we get is, I got to stay all day. Yeah, you got to stay all day because this is a serious matter that relates to the next 15, 20, 30 years of your life. Secondly, it's important that you get completely educated about the folks that you're about to engage and interact with to guide you through this home buying process. And one of the things that we know is that when people become educated and informed consumers, they become empowered. The team that you put together to buy your home treats you with a little more respect. They identify your needs with a little more seriousness because you know something about what you're talking about. And if you don't know, you know somebody who does in the form of Homefirst. So that's important. The other thing that we get people to complain about during this process is, why does the bank want to know all of this information? And it's simple. You're asking them to loan you maybe $150,000 and you want 30 years to pay it back. No one will let a stranger knock on their door and ask for $150,000 and say, I promise to pay you back. The bank is invasive in the way that it looks at you to get you ready to go through this process. So we tell people, don't go out looking for a home until you've been educated. And the next thing is you got to get pre-qualified. And the pre-qualification is the process that lenders use to determine whether or not you're ready to become a homeowner. They ask for things like your W-2 form. They ask for your last 2 years' taxes. They're going to verify your employment. They're going to look at your bank statements. My bank statements, why do they want to look at my bank statements? They need to know that the income you claim to earn is coming somewhere. They also want to look to see what you're paying, who you owe. They're going to pull your credit report to see who you haven't paid and who you have paid. Basically, what they're going to do is vet you to make sure that you're representing yourself truthfully. Well, what we try to do is get the story told ahead of time. When you come through the homebuyer education program, they're going to teach you everything you need to know, from how to get pre-qualified, how to choose a realtor, what is an appraiser. There's a difference between an appraisal and a home inspection. What is the difference between homeowners insurance and mortgage insurance? There's a lot of information that you need to know. And our job is to give you that information. After you get that information, we simply sit down with you and we do the same thing the bank does. I need to see your bank statements. I need to see your W-2s. I need to verify that you are in fact employed. I need to know everything that they're going to know so that if there's anything that could possibly be a barrier, we can address it up front. The worst thing in the world is to apply for credit and sit there praying while the answer is being determined. When you apply for credit, you should know. You should know it's going to be approved. Now, I've had those moments in my life.
Hey, Reggie,
I tell a chick.
Reggie, you can't outrun that computer.
You cannot, absolutely. Alex, I tell people all the time, this life has two phases, and they're both BC. Before computers and before children.
Yeah.
Before computers, you could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And before children, you were free to do what you want to do. But the computer and children have slowed our roll to a crawl because it has to be verified.
Yeah.
But if I say to you, hey, you're sitting on a 580 credit score, and we need to get you to a 600 to a 620 so that you could be considered for some of our programs, that may mean I got to save a few dollars and I got to pay off a couple of bills. Just those two things alone can bump the credit score up. If you have recently changed jobs and changed fields, they're going to want a 2-year employment history. If you recently changed jobs and you're still in the same field, but you got a big increase with your new job, they will still consider that. So what we have to do is tailor the facts of your life to meet the criteria that the bank is most interested in. Here's something else. We get this all the time. How long does this take? It takes as long as it takes for you. Everyone's process is not the same. I can't tell you how many times we have clients come into the office to tell me what their cousin did, what their neighbor did, what their church member did. And see, one of the things I do know about people when they brag about their process, they don't tell the whole story.
Yeah.
They tell the end. I got my house, but they don't tell that it took 3 years and it took some credit cleaning up and some other things. Everybody's process is different. And it's not a race, it's not a competition. The biggest issue that we have is getting clients to understand you can live anywhere you can afford to live. The problem is we have people who are trying to live in spaces and places that they cannot afford to live.
Wow.
So don't let HGTV put you in this unrealistic place about home ownership. We fight that all the time. If you're in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment and you buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a carport, it's still an improvement. You can't jump from barely making it to something that's extravagant in the suburbs. You got to stair-step this thing. So owning is always better than renting. And if I can't own in the neighborhood of choice, let me own where I can afford until I can build the resources I need to go to the neighborhood of choice. And that's the hardest issue, is getting folks to understand, yeah, you may be paying $1,000 a month in rent, but guess what? $1,000 a month in rent will not buy very much house in certain neighborhoods. In fact, they won't even get you in. So let me see, I can take this $1,000 a month in rent that I'm paying and turning into home ownership, maybe in the same neighborhood that I'm already in. The difference is I'm creating wealth. I'm building equity.
Okay, I got a couple of quick questions for you, Reggie. Now, a person does not have to have gone through your program if they have got a foreclosure problem. Is that anybody in the community who may be experiencing those kinds of difficulties?
HUD has mandated that we serve everyone who may be experiencing the threat of foreclosure without hesitancy and without cost. When people use these roadside folks, help save your home today, avoid foreclosure now, those are ripoffs. By and large, you pay these people money, they take it, and they give you some bad advice. So the beauty of working with a HUD-approved housing counseling agency such as ourselves is you will not have to pay anything for the service. That's number one. Number two, you get professional help, meaning that you're dealing with folks who understand foreclosure, who understand the triggers and how to avoid them or stop them altogether. Here's something else that happens. When we call your mortgage company and we say we are a HUD-approved 501c3 housing counseling agency and we give them our agency ID number, all bets are off. They have to engage you because they now know that HUD is watching and the Consumer Protection Finance Bureau and the Department of Treasury is now looking at this transaction. So they're more apt to be amenable to doing workouts where they may say, okay, I'll tell you what, we know you're 6 months behind and you know that you're out of your crisis, and looking at what we've got, if you pay an extra $500 a month for the next 6 months, you're out the hold and your loan is back in good standing. Well, let's say I can't afford to do that. Well, let's see what we could do with a 24-month repayment plan to help you get back on your feet. Oh, wait, your interest rate is a little high. Maybe if we reduced your interest rates and your monthly payment and then move the payments that you owe to the back of the loan, that
Wow.
puts you back on your feet. But you don't know to ask those questions. We do.
Yeah.
We engage with the mortgage company. They have to do something. They
Let me ask
absolutely
you,
have to do something.
let me ask you two more questions quickly. Okay. What if, so does it have to, what if they're just at the threat? Maybe they see something on the horizon where they're gonna have a problem paying that mortgage. For example, you might lose your job in
Right.
June. You try all July to find a job, you don't find a job, and then that mortgage continues. What if they kind of suspect? They hopefully not, but if they kind of suspect that they're gonna have a problem paying that mortgage.
The first thing you do is call your mortgage company and say, hey, look, I just got laid off at work. I'm going to need some assistance until I can get reemployed. 9 times out of 10, there are in-house programs that will do unemployment moratoriums for you, or there are programs that will actually stop the mortgage payment altogether for a period of time until you get back on your feet. That's real and proper, and it happens all the time, but it also depends on what type of loan you have. One of the reasons why we favor FHA loans is because they come with built-in protections. So for instance, if you become unemployed, there's an unemployment repayment moratorium for up to 2 years with the FHA loan. With a conventional loan, you're out. You miss 3 payments, you're out of your house. So we have a program that will allow you to stay in your home for up to 2 years based on being unemployed. Let's say that you have been ill, and as a result of that, you've not been able to pay your mortgage. The state of Georgia has a program through the Housing Assistance Fund. If your illness can be traced back to COVID, and as a result of an increased expenses as a result of COVID, they can do up to $50,000 to help you stay in your home. And this is a grant. This is not a loan. This is money that
Wow.
you have to pay back. But if you don't know this type of information, at least know who to call to get the information. And that's what we do here at Homefirst.
There are resources available, and I want the community to understand it. Too many people go to jail. Too many people get in trouble. Too many people die from illness. You know, too many people get sick. Too many people don't get training. Too many people don't get education because they don't know. It's a free resource out there for almost everything you need. Free. And I think this demonstrates, one of the resources that are available in our community. We got a phenomenal guy working for a phenomenal agency doing a phenomenal job in the person of Reggie Bell and Homefirst. Now, final question. What if you're already a homeowner? I'm just asking this when you mentioned, maybe you started out and you were paying $1,000 rent, and then you moved to $1,000 home. Went to Homefirst, and said, "Wait, if I'm paying this rent, I may as well buy this house and build me some generation wealth." After you do that, you get a promotion. Your wife finishes college, you double your income, and you're going to move from that $1,000 a month mortgage to a $2,000 a month mortgage. Do you deal with that at all?
Yeah, we do. There are programs that will assist you in stepping up. The income limits have been significantly raised in recent years, and the amount of home that you can purchase, depending on where you live in the state of Georgia, has increased substantially. So there are folks out there who may have bought their home 3 or 4 years ago, and they're ready to buy another house and step up. We can help families step up and
Wow.
use these resources to do that.
Wow. Wow. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex C. Havisham, interviewing Mr. Reggie Bell, Executive Director of Homefirst, which is a phenomenal agency that contributes to the quality of life and the effectiveness of life and healthy living. Because if and when you own your home, it helps to build generational wealth. It instills pride in you. It helps to establish your legacy. It generates more respect. So I'm just trying to tell y'all, going to the project, I'm just trying to tell y'all that there's an agency out there that will assist you. And I'm so happy about this agency. And I'm so pleased that a call to action in association with the Macon Middle Georgia Black Pages are able to just provide this information to you. And Reggie, how should they contact you?
The best way to reach us at this point is through our website, which is Homefirst Housing. That's homefirstgeorgia.org. And if you go to homefirstgeorgia.org, you can reach us for home buyer education. You can also reach out to us for foreclosure intervention. The tabs are self-explanatory and it's easy. Or if you want to go old school, just call us at 478-219-3957. That's 478-219-3957, and we'll be more than happy to assist you.
And if they want to come to see you all, they need to call and make an appointment.
Absolutely. We can't do walk-ins, but you call the office, we will schedule you the first available appointment so that you can get in to talk about whether it's foreclosure or if you want to talk about home ownership. And be on the lookout. When you go to that website, it will show you when the next classes are. And as I said, the classes are free, but you've got to pre-register in order to attend.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all you do. Give your family my regards. I remember those 3 little girls when they were very young, and I understand now they got girls.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I really appreciate your dedication and your commitment to a very, very important area in our community and in society as it relates to home ownership, which in turn directly relates to generational wealth. And that's important for the prosperity and the posterity of our community. It's extremely important. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex C. Havisham. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com